So, my dear friends in Christ, today, the 24th day of our global family liberation, we are going to be praying for the first son, liberation of our first sons. If you like, you can add the first daughters. But here in Africa and most parts of the world, first son is indeed a controversial position. And it is a position, directly or indirectly, you may not avoid. You may not be a first son. What do I mean by first son? First son simply means the first male child in every family. The first male child in every family. So, you may not be a first son, but you may end up giving birth to a first son. That is the interesting part of it. I repeat, you may not be a first son. You may not be a first daughter, but you are entitled, or you are in position to give birth to a first son. Now, in most parts of the world, especially here in Africa, firstborn sons, they occupy an enviable position in the family. To start with, they are the most favored in the family. They bring joy to the family because they are the first fruit of the family. Every family would like to have a first son. So the moment the first son arrives, there is joy. So the family is filled with joy. And because of that, the parents often shower a lot of love, a lot of care on that first son. A lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of attention on that first son. As good as it is also the origin of the problem in the family, as you will know. Because that love parents showers on the first son, first daughter, as the case may be. Now, when a second child arrives, the first son sees the second child as a rival. Most families, take this for granted. The tension between the first son, the second son, and even the rest of the family members, the origin of that clash is natural. The origin of this clash is based on the fact that the first son sees himself, as a favored child. He doesn't even know that another child is coming. He is alone. He is always at the arms of the mother. All the attention, all the love is showered on him. But the moment a second child arrives, you will see to even separate the child, the first son, from the mother becomes a problem. And automatically, naturally, the hatred for the second son or the second child The first son sees the second child as someone who has overthrown him. Okay? So he doesn't look at him. You see, at times, even as kids, they keep beating themselves, fighting themselves, and you think it's ordinary. It's not ordinary. That is where most of the problem in the family originate. So if parents doesn't handle it with care, that is the time you need to prove to the first son that you are also important. You are as important as the second child. But most parents make that mistake. They just, you are matured enough. You should be on your own. By the way, another child has arrived. You have to be on your own. And this affects them psychologically. I'm just trying to let you know the origin of the hatred between the first child and the rest of the children in the family. There's always a rivalry, clash between the first son and the. So another thing that causes clash. By the way, before I go into, there are so many negative things I may talk about tonight concerning the first son. But let me first of all acknowledge the fact that first sons, as I said, it is a position that you cannot use title to buy. It is a divine position. If you're a first child, congratulations. It's not something anybody can take away from you. It's a divine ordination. So, nobody, no matter, even if your younger ones becomes richer than you, they may be number one financially. They may be number one intellectually. They may be number one spiritually. But they can never take your position as the first son. Even if you are an imbecile, you remain the first son of your family. That's number one. And another interesting thing about first son is that the man who brought us together here, Jesus Christ, happens to be the first son. And that should be, in fact, is a credit, is an honor to you all that you are sharing in the same position with our Lord Jesus Christ. The Igbo people, the title Opara is what we use for first son. And there is this song I like so much. Okay? Opara Chineke onye nzọpụta. Onye nzọpụta. Opara Chineke onye nzọpụta. Onye nzọpụta. Opara Chineke onye nzọpụta. Ewo onye na nzọpụta. So, he is Opara, he is the first son. He is the first son of his parents. And that is why, maybe I don't know if I added that in the book. You say every first child must be redeemed. Okay? In the Bible, it is stated clearly that every first child belongs to God. Anything that opens, first fruit, first child, anything that opens the wound, anything that opens your business, your first fruit belongs to God. And that's why you talk about offering your first fruit. Your first salary, or for instance, your first fruit, your first child, they belong to God. So anything that opens the womb, opens the business, opens whatever you are doing, belongs to God. First child. So, but now, you have to, since this child belongs, if you want this child to belong to you and belongs to God, you must redeem this child. There are processes you have to go. You have to use some sacrifice, like the Bible states it. Turtle doves, like in case of Jesus Christ, the poorest family have to present pigeon and turtle dove and then use it to redeem the first son. The parents of Jesus Christ did it during his presentation in the temple. Very, very important. But most parents take this for granted. They don't redeem their first child. They take it for granted. They just do ordinary church dedication, churching like every other child. You must redeem your first child. Jesus Christ was redeemed as a first son. But most of us, we take some of these things for granted. And that's why most of these first son, because they have not been redeemed, they are still in bond. Okay? So that is part of the liberation you are going to receive tonight. And then another thing we must note about these first sons. I have told you the origin of the jealousy. First sons, in as much as they are favored, they are also vulnerable because of what I have told you now, where the problem comes from. Usually parents carelessly, they take that for granted. When you have been lavishing love on the first son, pouring care, concern on the first son, and the second child arrives. In fact, most of you must have made this mistake. Before you know it, you stop her from breastfeeding, you stop her from coming close to you, and that first child will be feeling rejected. That first child will be like seeing the other child as a rival. So if you're a wise mother, a wise parent, after carrying the newly arrived baby, you can still carry the first child, show that first child that I still love you. You are still my child. You are still important to me. So, but most parents make this mistake. They just, and the child cannot communicate. The child cannot, speak. If every child, first child, should open their mouth at that early stage, if you should know what is going on in their mind, oh my God, where is this stranger coming from? Where did you bring this child? Who is this child that have come to take my place? So that is what is going on in the heart of the first child. But how to help it? So the ball lies down on the mother to prove to the first child, hey, this one is also your brother, this one is also your sister, but I love you, irrespective of the fact that we have a new member in our family. You are also my child. I still love you the way I love. Just, you take time to train your first son to accept. Don't presume. You should know that is your child, your brother now. You should know that is your sister. No, don't presume. Just take your time through your action, through your words. Let the first son know that this newly stranger who has just arrived is also your brother, your sister. You've got to love her. You've got to love him. And I love you, my first son. You are still number one. If there is any way you can communicate it to him at that early stage, but don't use anything that will make the first son feel rejected, because that has impact and it has destroyed so many families. Okay, now here in Igbo land, I will still talk about Asian. Those are the two cultures I have really studied very well. Here in Igbo land, there is, if you like, the respect the culture have for first son is such that before, when they are sharing property in the family, the first son must be the one to test whatever the father has. We call it ihe nguto ono. So the first son, before you share any property in your father's house, the first son must take one portion of land. Is his right? Okay? The Igbo people respect that. You must point at one land. And most of the first son, they are greedy. Most of them, if they are greedy, they will always target the biggest land. The greedy ones will always, that one is, before they start sharing every other thing equally, they will give you the right as the first son. But most of the time, what happens is that the first son, the greedy ones, they will target the biggest portion. Some of them may even claim the family house. Okay, and that is where they want to use as ihe nguto ono. And then when they do that, others will be feeling cheated. But they may not say it, the culture allows it, but others may be feeling cheated. So, but the greedy ones doesn't even care. They don't care. And another thing I noticed among the Igbos, there is a court. They don't call it court. They don't even treat it as a court. There is a group they call Ndiokpara. So a group of people that make up the first son, they have a very strong meeting, a group, gathering. At times they meet on market day. Hey, this is one of the most powerful the most influential, and the most dangerous group in Igbo land. Okay, it is when you talk about initiation, they are number one, because the moment you join that Otundo Okpara, okay, you must follow the tradition of the land. They see you as the custodian of the tradition. Okay, first son, you must be a member of this court. I'm using court for you to know how serious it is. I don't know the kind of vow, the kind of covenant they enter into. They defend themselves. Most of the time, even when the Okpara is wrong, they make sure they prove to you that as Okpara, you must respect your, they defend themselves, and when they meet together, they discuss nothing but how to, after all, I'm in charge. After all, I'm the first son. And the group, they know how to support themselves. So they are very, very dangerous, in the sense that when you enter this group, you learn a lot of things that can destroy your family. Okay? They will now make you feel superior to all your brothers and sisters. They will put it in your head. Even at times when you just don't want to act as Okpara, they will make sure they put it inside you to know that after all, you are the Okpara. Don't allow anybody to tie you. Don't allow anybody to oppress you. And if there is anything, they will come out to defend their own. That is what I noticed in Igbo land concerning these first sons. Now, going to Ishan, their own is even more dangerous, because in Ishan land, the first son owns everything. The father, the first son, everything. As long as you are able to do the burial of your father, everything your father owns belongs to you as the first son. So the others are at your mercy. If you like, you can give them. If you like, you cannot give them. Nobody have the right to query you. As the first son, in fact, you own the property of your father. Okay? Unless the second son or another child succeed in doing the burial. Maybe you, as the first son, you don't have money, and you don't know how to bring your siblings to support you to do the burial, and then a younger one does the burial. All those property automatically becomes the younger one following you. It doesn't matter his position. Whoever does the burial of the father, the elders recognizes him. Okay? So it's somehow. And because of that, and another thing I noticed about the Asian people of Edo State, you may marry your wife now and have children. You have children. But if peradventure there is a concubine outside the family, you impregnated, and then that concubine gives birth to a first child, son, and it is proven, even after your death, it is proven that one senior, the one in the family, the elders recognizes that concubine as the first son. So it doesn't matter. When they are able to prove that, yes, it is this man's blood, he's the one that gave birth to this child, this first son, they recognizes him as the first son, and he's the rightful owner of the father's property, especially if he is the one that did the burial. Okay? So that is one thing about culture. So another crazy part of it is that even if the father decides to write his will, you write your will, it's okay, this is how I want my children to share their property. After your death, the family members will gather. After reading the will, the first question the elders will ask, they will ask the first son, do you accept this will? And if the first son say, I don't accept it, that is the end of your will. So you can see that it's even crazy. Even if you go to court and the court judges in your favor, then come back home, they will make life miserable for you. Because these elders, they know how to frustrate people. There was a case I handled last time. Assistant Commissioner of Police, where after his death, the son came back from overseas. The first son, the legitimate first son, came back from overseas to conduct the father's burial. From nowhere, a young man just appeared. That he is the son of this man that died. In fact, it was even the elders that have to introduce the young man to the family. And the elders insisted that they must accept that stranger as their first son. And the first son in the family now was asking, where have you been all this while? All this while since our father was sick. Where have you been? We did not see you. Your father did not tell us, our father did not tell us there is anything like first son. Now, after the death of our father, now the burial, you are coming to claim the position of first son. And the elders supported him, a stranger. And the worst thing is that the elders told the family members, if you don't accept this first son, we are not going to participate in the burial. So luckily for this young man, he came to consult with me. He said he's confused. They keep dragging whether to do the burial, whether not to do the burial, that the elders are complaining, that they say they are not going to participate. And I now saw this young man. Let me tell you, you are now educated, you are enlightened. Okay? I said, now, assuming if the elders doesn't come for the burial, does it mean your father will not be buried? It took him time to answer that question. But at the end of the day, he told me that they will try to, fight him in a diabolic way, and they will not recognize him in the society. I said, all this while, have you been recognized? Are they the one feeding you? He said, no. Are they the one, sustaining you? He said, no. Even if they recognize you now, will they help you to bury your father? He said his own is going to be, he's going to spend his own. I said, now, listen to me. Follow my instruction. One, relax. I will help you spiritually. Remove that fear of they will attack you diabolically. I will stand by you spiritually. But in terms of the burial, go ahead. With or without them, whatever is their right, give it to them. And if they reject it, ignore them. Let's do this burial. Because you have to go back. His flight has been stated when to go back. It's a return ticket. I said, we must do this burial. Your father is assistant police, commissioner of police. Get some police, get some army. Okay? Put it in place. Anybody that misbehaves, they should get the person arrested. And they brought the will. Even when they brought the will of the father, and then the boy, luckily for you, I said, go and look for the will of your father. And he got the will. I said, now keep it. Don't show it to anybody. And luckily for him, the father did not mention that stranger. So the elders from nowhere to destroy this family, they just brought a stranger to just scatter the home. So I said, do this burial. You are matured. After this burial, anybody that misbehaved, that mess up, just get him arrested. I will stand by you. I'll pray. I'll protect you spiritually. And as God will have it, the young man conducted the burial without the elders. Okay? And that was how that yoke was broken. They did everything to put obstacle, but at the end of the day, it was successful. It was successful. They traveled back. Okay? So those are the kind of challenges we are having in Africa. This issue of first son has caused a lot of havoc in so many families. It has broken so many homes. And one thing, when you are married when you're polygamy, that's another one. Maybe you are married to a second wife. Now the question is, who becomes the first son? So even if you are the first wife, no matter your position, no matter your age, the moment the second wife gives birth to the first son before you, automatically they are recognizing the second wife. So those are the kind of cultural clashes we are having. But now, let me tell you, I know most of the first sons are listening to me. The only thing that will save you as a first child, don't be greedy. I said don't be greedy, because first son, your greatest challenge is, one is greedy, two is jealousy. If you have money, there is problem. You will see others as, people are disturbing you. After all, are you the only one? If you have money, you will always complain because you are the breadwinner in that family. All eyes are on you. People will be bringing their problem. People will be bringing their this. It's a problem. Then if you don't have money, another problem. You'll be always feeling insulted, always feeling not respected. And is it because I don't have money? You will see the younger ones, anything they do, you will always attribute it. Is it because I don't have money? You will always feel insulted. So you always feel, low self-esteem. You have to guide against it. Okay? Overtake is allowed. When you look at the Bible, look at the story in the Bible. And all these things happen in the family. Most of the death that takes place in the family, what we talk about, household enemy, is worse than it. If your family members doesn't kill you, nobody will ever kill you. So you have to be very, very careful. We have two brothers in the Bible, Cain and Abel. Cain happens to be first son. Cain happens to be first son because God accepted the gift of his younger brother, Abel. That was the only crime his brother committed. And Cain killed his younger brother. So this happens in the family. When the parents are praising the younger ones, oh my God, it can lead to death. So God knows why he put that story at the very beginning of the book. Genesis, the very beginning, origin of humanity. The jealousy, it can be deadly. And the worst thing, when you marry a Jezebel, when you marry an evil woman, that evil woman will now help you to, he will now give you the impression that, let's be gathering for our family, let's be gathering for our children. They are oppressing you. That Jezebel, in fact, so that's why if you are choosing wife for your first son, or if you are first son, you must look for a God-fearing woman. That is the only thing that will save you. If you mistakenly marry one of these greedy women, she will now give you the impression that you are being cheated. She will even help you to oppress the younger ones. So, and women, let me tell you, if you are the wife of a first son, be warned. Be warned. Be warned, because you people can be terrible. First son's wife, you can be terrible. Help your husband to carry every member of the family along. Don't come and discriminate. Don't come and give him the impression that everybody must come and worship you as a first son. That's why we gave, there was a woman, Amuche, we gave her a righteous wife. Why did we give this woman the title, a righteous wife? She told us how. The husband happens to be the first son, and then the younger ones were misbehaving. Instead of her to tell the younger, don't mind them, they will come back to you, whether they like it or not. Let them go to a hell. After all, you are the first son. He sat the husband down and said, my dear, please, I know you are the senior. These children are supposed to respect you. But as the elders, gather them together. Talk to them that you are their father. And this woman said through that process, she was able to reconcile the husband with the brothers. That is what you should do as a wife. Ambassador for Peace. God bless you, my dear. That is the Ambassador for Peace. That was the title we gave her. That is the title. Your role in the family is to help your husband. Because his colleagues, they will be giving him the impression that after all, you are. Don't allow these children. If you are not careful, they will overthrow you. If you are not careful, they will suppress you. Just prove to them that you are the firstborn. That is what his colleagues will be telling him. But you as the wife, if you are an ambassador of peace in that family, your own is to calm him down. My dear, be humble. Carry your brothers and sisters along. You know, all these things we are dragging, we are not taking them to the grave. That is the role of an ambassador of peace. If you're a wife, help your husband to be humble. So please, today I'm praying against the spirit of pride. Pride. That is what kills most of our young first son. Pride goes before a fall. Another one is this spirit of jealousy. Deadly jealousy. When the father praises, like in my own family, my father, it was so obvious, glittery obvious, that my father loved the second son, more than all of us. Charles, he doesn't joke with him because Charles knows how to, he knows how to, even not only my father, he buys gift for the elderly ones. When he's coming back like this, he will buy gift for the elderly ones. And because of that, he won their approval. So my father now, when he's praising Charles, my brother will be, the first one will be grumbling. He said my father must show him who is his mother, that he doesn't think he's the one that gave birth to him. That is the kind of jealousy you find among most first son. He got to a stage, my first brother was even claiming a woman that my father wanted to marry. Before he married my mother, he said he is sure, the way my father is praising the other one, he is sure that he is the first son of that Olobo, the other woman. So the greedy, when you talk about jealousy, it can be so deadly among the first sons. They can go to any extreme. You see him quarreling, not happy anytime. So does it mean that parents should not praise their children that are doing well? So first sons, you have to be careful. You have to control your greed. You have to control your jealousy. Don't be jealous. And if peradventure God has blessed a younger one, the Igbo people make parables that onyaka liri lienaya owugidio paraburu. Okay? So you should not be jealous that God has decided to bless a younger one. Look at the story of Esau and Jacob. Esau happens to be the first son, but God decided to favor